Ink-a-dink, 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 ink-a-dink. Wow. Okay.
Oh, they're doing another show, and they still have no idea that we've hijacked the soundtrack. Oh, well, what are we going to do to end the show, Tweety?
Well, I brought in somebody that I think you'll appreciate, and he's been discussed on occasion by the cat and the dude. And remember Derek Cheetah?
Yeah, I remember the disc, but wasn't it? The confusion about that was that the dude thought it was Derek Jeter, and the cat thought it was Derek Cheetah. And so I don't know. Somebody's going to be happy if we have Derek. Well, which one is it anyway?
Hi there. I'm actually Derek Cheetah.
Yeah.
Are I the one that you contacted me to come on and talk and read an article? I think you said you wanted me to do.
Oh, yep. So we don't have Derek Jeter. We've got Derek Cheetah. Okay, well, let's do it. That's probably more newsworthy than the crap they're talking about anyway on the show. Look at the dude thinks that everybody can hear him. Ho, ho, ho. And that cat has no idea that we have taken over the soundtrack. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's let her rip. Go ahead, Derek Cheetah, and read away.
Okay. Now, this is from the News Times a couple days ago, and it's an article about, I'll read the headline of the article. It's a very bold and brave claim by a good friend of the News Times. In fact, I think we've mentioned a couple of times in the past that there's a revolving door between the mayor's office and the News Times, where people leave the News Times and go to work for the mayor's office, and people leave the mayor's office and go to work for the News Times. So at any rate, here we go. The article boldly proclaims, Boughton says no to pot dispensaries. But the byline under that says a very different story. It's a quote from Mayor Mark Boughton. Our staff is researching whether we can prohibit a dispensary but allow a local pharmacy to sell medical marijuana. So let me go a little bit into it. Let me read the article part of the way through, and then we can discuss it. Okay?
Okay, I think that's a good idea. Go ahead. You ready, Snarky?
Yep. Well, I'm ready.
Okay, the article is written by Rob Reiser, and that's not Rob Reiner, by the way. It's Rob Reiser. I know you guys have a little trouble with Derek Cheetah and Derek Jeter.
Look. The dude and the cat are going on to, they think they're doing the screw Fox News, here comes Cat News. They think they're doing the news report, when in fact, we're the ones that are doing the news. Right out of the Danbury News Times. Oh.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Okay.
Let her rip, Derek. Is it Cheetah or Jeter?
It's Derek Cheetah. You know, I get this all the time. People confuse me with Derek Jeter. No, I don't play baseball. Sorry. But I got a pretty cool sounding name, you'll have to admit.
Yep. We'll admit that.
Okay. By Rob Reiser. While the first sales of medical marijuana were made this week, at sites in Bethel and 5 other Connecticut towns, Danbury officials were researching ways to keep state-approved dispensaries out of the city. And a little icon going along with the icon, a little byline here. Waiting to inhale. clever, instead of waiting to exhale, waiting to inhale, an occasional series on medical marijuana in Connecticut. Okay, for now, the issue is not a pressing one because Connecticut has set a limit of 6 medical marijuana dispensaries and 4 medical marijuana growers, all of which are state licensed. While state law permits pharmacies to sell medical marijuana, it's unlikely any would do so. And that's something we'll get to a little bit later because it's an important point to make why we have dispensaries rather than having CVS and Walgreens and some of the other pharmacies selling the medical marijuana. Okay, continue. But should the law change to allow more dispensaries, Danbury wants to be ready with an ordinance banning them. When you need marijuana for medical purposes, you could go to a pharmacy to get your prescription filled, like you would for any other medication. So I don't think we want a dispensary, Mayor Mark Boughton said. Our staff is researching whether we can prohibit, and let's move along, a dispensary but allow a local pharmacy to sell medical marijuana. So it appears like, and you guys can correct me, it sounds like he's not opposed to marijuana being sold in the state of Connecticut, or in Danbury for that matter, just not at a dispensary. He wants a more corporate setting. Under the same guidelines as a dispensary is. They've got a licensed pharmacist on duty at all times in a dispensary, and likewise CVS or Walgreens or anybody else that is selling medical marijuana would also have to have a licensed pharmacist who's knowledgeable about what they're selling. Another thing, and we are delving kind of into away from just quoting the article and getting into some sideline discussion here, but it appears like CVS and Walgreens would not necessarily benefit from selling medical marijuana, simply because they're selling at the same time. They would be selling at the same time other prescription drugs that I think it's safe to say would be shown up by medical marijuana, which apparently from studies that have been done, medical marijuana does a lot better job than a lot of the prescription drugs that combat pain and nausea and other things. So here we go. Okay, we're going to change now from the story to a parallel article. News from the front page. In Connecticut, legal marijuana comes at high cost. Another bold statement by Ken Dixon here. Legal Connecticut-grown medical marijuana is finally for sale, although it's not yet priced to compete with the underground market. After an emotional opening at the Compassionate Care Center in Bethel, co-owner Angela D'Amico said her 5-year odyssey to bring medical cannabis to the state is complete. This has been an arduous process, she said Tuesday night, after the 53rd patient of the day visited her dispensary, one of 6 in the state that will serve the 2,300 registered patients who can each buy up to 2.5 ounces, about 70 grams, every month. D'Amico, a Trumbull resident, said patients come from throughout the western half of the state. Patients from Darien, Stamford, Fairfield, Shelton, Ansonia, and Litchfield County towns, including New Milford, also visited the pharmacist-run facility on its opening day. Like the other 5 dispensaries, Compassionate Care Center is selling 3 strains of marijuana with varying percentages of THC. That's tetrahydrocannabinol, the active ingredient, the most active ingredient in marijuana. But at $100 for 5 grams, there are 28.4 grams in an ounce. It isn't inexpensive. Medical cannabis activist Tracy Gamer Fanning of West Hartford, president of the Connecticut Brain Tumor Alliance, said the retail price of $450 to $600 per ounce dispensaries are charging may be too expensive for fellow cancer patients who have been purchasing lower-priced marijuana from friends and other illegal sources for years. But D'Amico and Angela DeFazio, a pharmacist who grew up in Danbury and opened a cannabis dispensary in Hartford's North Meadows, predict prices will decline sharply, 15% or more, as more Connecticut-grown marijuana reaches the market and additional patients sign up for the program. Hoping for a price drop. At $80 to $90 for 5 grams, the per-ounce cost at DeFazio's Arrow Alternative Care approaches $450 an ounce, $50 to $100 above street prices for higher-grade cannabis. And we're going to get to that claim of higher-grade cannabis on the street in a second, but looking back a little bit in the article, the retail price, the street price between $450 and $600 per ounce. Okay. We'll let the audience, of course, do a little research. If probably everybody out there probably knows someone who smokes marijuana. Its use is treatment for a lot of issues, including the ones that are being looked at now and being prescribed for by doctors. Okay, my initial reaction is surprise at the price at Fanning, 44, an 8-year brain tumor survivor. I do want this program to be successful, but I'm disappointed at the starting price. I hope as more patients do get involved that the price would fall. Fanning said she wished dispensaries could make the drug available for $250 to $300 an ounce and make it cheaper than underground prices. It's significantly more than I hoped. While 6 growers were selected last winter in locations throughout the state, only Theraplant LLC, a Watertown-based grower, has brought a crop to market. And hold on, we're just going to find our spot here. Okay. Others, such as Advanced Grow Labs LLC of West Haven, are not expected to have marketable crops until about December. Since opening Monday with a good but limited supply of 3 strains of marijuana, and here's something that runs contrary to the claim earlier in the story, all relatively high in potency. DeFazio, the owner of 4 Arrow pharmacies in the Hartford area and a member of the state's Commission of Pharmacy, has provided marijuana to about 35 people. The dispensary also has glass pipes for smoking and vaporizers for those who want to inhale without smoking. And marijuana, as you may know, has tar in it, just like tobacco does. And the way to avoid getting tar in your lungs is to use a vaporizer. To avoid the vaporizer, what the heck?
Oh, there's the dude with the football. I bet that's got something to do. They're probably doing a story about the, let's say, well, let's call it what it is. One football player beating his wife or his fiancée and dragging her out of an elevator to a room, and some other football player dude who beat his kid with a tree branch.
Ow, that really stinks. How do these guys get away with it?
Well, they didn't exactly get away with it. Yeah, they got away with it. Eventually they got pushed out of the league, either temporarily or permanently. But, hey, well, what's football about except violence? Oh, I bet. Tweety, you're doing a good job with the graphics while we're doing this. Good work. Oh, look, it's the little kitten. Oh, it's Walter.
He is cute. Might even. Well, let's keep an eye on him for a second because he's certainly more interesting than the dude and the cat.
Yeah, I bet they're talking about what the corporate sponsors are doing now. I'll bet they're looking for sponsorship that football might be. Oh, yeah, look at that. They still think they're doing Screw Fox News. Here comes Cat News. Well, dude, well, Cat. What do you say, Tweety?
I say we got him scooped.
Let me continue with the article. Okay. We're changing lives. Patients must be registered with the State Department of Consumer Protection through their personal physicians. Eligible patients and their caregivers are then presented with photo IDs. Medical conditions covered by the state law include HIV and AIDS, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's disease, epilepsy, cancer, Parkinson's disease, wasting syndrome, and I'm not sure. We'll let the folks in the audience go back home and do a little research on that. Wasting syndrome. Also, intractable spasticity and spinal cord damage. Most patients want to experiment, DeFazio said, adding that many of his first-time patients are buying only 5 to 10 grams to test their effects. D'Amico, however, said several patients at her dispensary bought full 2.5-ounce prescriptions, and that's a monthly allotment. DeFazio described business on Monday and Tuesday as controlled chaos as patients arrived at Arrow Alternative Care on Weston Street near Interstate 91. Okay, I catch my breath here.
Okay.
We're changing lives, he said, outside the nondescript one-story building on a business strip development. Someone in full-blown tears paid us the best compliment. They said, "Thank you for taking the risk. We are all about compassionate care." Other dispensaries are located in Bristol, South Windsor, Brantford, and the Uncasville section of Montville. Fanning, who uses marijuana to get away from the potential for addiction and physical harm from prescription opiates, said cannabis use is a great tool for the very sick. "I want people to understand the rules," she said. "It's like a narcotic because you can't smoke some marijuana and expect to run off to work. But it is great for nausea and pain, and there's real freedom in that. It's a life-saving thing for a lot of people."
Dear Diary, the authorities have removed the pair of black pants from the couch. There is no longer any place for me to sleep. I have vomited 3 times in protest, but there is no sign that anything will change. My only other hope for rest is on the computer keyboard, which is nearby, but sadly no one is currently using it. I will wait. Dear Diary, my food dish is now only half full. It is obvious that I will soon starve to death. I have repeatedly tried to draw attention to my predicament with the authorities, but they are clearly either stupid, deaf, or just cruel. This may be my last entry. Dear Diary, it has come to my attention that the authorities have 2 hands, but seem to have made it the sadistic policy only to pet me with one of them at a time. Half of love is just low, which is how I feel. My spirit is breaking. Dear Diary, I've decided to plead with the authorities to rub my belly. I think it'll do me good in my current condition. I would like to receive 2 rubs exactly. A 3rd one and I will bite the shit out of them as per protocol. Wish me luck. Dear Diary, the water dish continues to vex me. The authorities seem to taunt me with this cruel liquid that has neither smell nor distinguishing visual markings. A sad anniversary. This is the 900th day that my nose has been unintentionally wetted. Dear Diary, yesterday I put in a simple request regarding the door to the garden, but seemingly out of sheer spite, the authorities refused to hold the door open long enough for me to decide whether to go outside or inside, or outside, or inside. Dear Diary, the authorities have punished me for taking a crap on the living room floor. This despite my efforts to distribute the litter evenly throughout the house. I am convinced that they are madmen, devoid of reason. Dear Diary, the squirrel was back again today. It mocks me. I will try and release my mind from this torment and groom myself for 4 hours. Dear Diary, I have been stalking an insect on the wall for the past 3 days now. All of my attempts to capture it have been thwarted. However, today, on further inspection, I found out that the insect was in fact a thumbtack. There is no logic in this place. Dear Diary, it is 3 in the morning. The authorities have closed the door to the bedroom. I can only assume that they have forgotten about me and have left me here to die. As a last resort, I will stand post for the rest of the night and sing the song of my people in hopes that they rescue me. Dear Diary, when the authorities poop, I have tried to poop in the bathtub litter box with them in a show of solidarity. I have yet to experience any gratitude. Dear Diary, my attempts to destroy the terrible plant have all been for naught. Somehow, almost as if by some evil magic, a new one has appeared in its place. I will have to start over now. Like Sisyphus, I am bound to hell.
They say they'd rob your grandma blind on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Fritter her away her Medicare on Wall Street. And Pharma Oil and their pet fox don't care if she lives in a box, so long as they wear platinum jocks on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Meow.